Let's bring in our resident goaltender, Jamie Noodles McLennan, to talk about the goalie matchup in the Stanley Cup final between Sergei Bobrovsky and Stuart Skinner. I didn't realize this, Jamie. I didn't realize that Skinner and Bobrovsky tied for third in the NHL in regular season wins. You might think that they were similar style goaltenders, but that's actually not the case, is it?
No, I mean, if you look at it, and let's even look at their regular season, the journey was a little bit different. We'll start with Stuart Skinner. It did not start well for the Edmonton Oilers and Skinner. Ken Holland makes the bold move to put Jack Campbell on waivers to shake up the team. And he basically hands the keys to the car to Stuart Skinner. And he ends up playing close to 60 games this season. And he established himself as the clear-cut #1 goaltender. And yes, outside of hitting the ditch a little bit against the Vancouver Canucks, he's been rock solid. And if you look at Sergei Bobrovsky, your guy Bob, he's been fantastic really for about a calendar year. I thought he had a great season this year. And if you look at their style, the way that they are different, Bobrovsky's 6'2". He's got tremendous flexibility. So the one thing I would caution the Edmonton Oilers players is this guy's not going to give up on a puck. So if there's an opportunity on the back door, he can get there as far as his lateral movement. He's got terrific feet. He's a great skater, and he battles in the net. You look at the other side in Stuart Skinner, he's 6'4". He's a big goaltender. He's more positional. He holds his position. He tries to close holes up and force shooters to go around him. Style points, sometimes it doesn't look as clean for Stuart Skinner because sometimes he just tries to set his angle and have the puck hit him. And if it goes around him, you're saying, okay, maybe he could react to that puck. So they look different, but they both have had kind of a successful playoff, we call it. As I mentioned, Stuart Skinner, 2 games he got to watch from the sidelines with the reset, but he's been brilliant. And you could argue that Game 6 against the Dallas Stars, he absolutely stole it and helped the Edmonton Oilers get into the finals.
Biggest shot differential in a conference final clinching game ever. Jamie, you've been following everything. You know most people are picking the Panthers to win this series. If the Oilers are going to buck that trend and they're going to win this series, what are the keys to victory for Edmonton?
Well, I'm going to just lay out a couple, we'll call it a pathway. Obviously, you've got to match the physicality of the Florida Panthers. And I'm not talking about dropping the gloves, but you have to be in an opportunity to battle for every square inch of ice out there. And what I mean by that is every piece of ice is contested in all 3 zones. And the Oilers have the horses to do it physically. I look at a guy like Evander Kane, Darnell Nurse. They're big guys. They're not shy to push back. Carrick is inserted. Corey Perry, we know how he plays. Adam Henrique doesn't get intimidated. And Leon Draisaitl is a big horse. He plays playoff hockey during the regular season, so he's certainly not going to shy away from the physicality. So that's one thing. I would argue that 97 might steal them a game just basically on him being willed into and willing his team into it. Stuart Skinner has to be a factor. He might have to steal a game. And the other thing is special teams. The penalty kill and the power play for the Edmonton Oilers has been brilliant. So if the Florida Panthers decide that they want to get a bit greasy and a little extracurricular activity after the whistle, and they end up giving Edmonton 5 or 6 penalties on any given night, Edmonton's special teams could be a difference maker. So that's the pathway for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, the Florida Panthers are going to have a lot to say about that because they're well-balanced, they're well-coached, they've got skill, there's no weakness in their lineup. But if they get a little bit too overzealous, that's where those are the key points where Edmonton could beat them.
I think that's a good pathway. You've laid out the pathway for the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. My question for you, and I'm putting you on the spot here, do you actually think they're going to do it? Do you believe Edmonton will win the Cup in this series?
It's funny because I'm torn. You know I'm a Panthers alumni, and Roberto Luongo, Brian McCabe, Bill Zito, Greg Campbell. I know so many people from that organization have a soft spot for them. And I think logically you could say that Florida's the favorite. They're the better team. But that being said, I'm picking Edmonton in 7, and here's why. The other night I was in the building in Game 6 against the Dallas Stars, and McDavid scored that goal, and I turned to my buddy and I said, I don't think he's going to be stopped. And I feel like that might be the situation in the finals as well. As I laid out the pathway before, but I feel like there's an X factor, and it might be Connor McDavid, where he says, this is the closest I've ever been. I'm not going to be denied. So I am going Oilers in 7, but I feel like Florida is the slight favorite, but the pathway is 97, and he might not be denied.
I love it. And, hey, we're all hoping for a 7-game series. Let's stretch it right out to June the 24th. Noodles, before you go, I got something fun for you. I want to show you this tweet from Coldplay_Oilers on Twitter. Look at this. Ever notice that Chris Knobloch looks like Lloyd Braun? Lloyd Braun, one of the favorite characters on Seinfeld, of course. That leads us to the Are They Related segment. Jamie, we wanted to get your opinion on this. You have become our Are They Related expert. Are they related, Chris Knobloch and the actor who plays Lloyd Braun?
100%. And Lloyd Braun is holding the gum there, Jay. That's the gum. Remember the dreaded gum? And the other thing is, do you remember the scene where Kramer eats the hot dog?
Yep.
The hot dog from the movie theater that was, 1950s hot dog
That's
that was
right.
there. I do believe that Chris Knobloch does look like Lloyd Braun. He also has a little bit of Christian Bale in him. Do you remember the movie, I think it was American Psycho or whatever, where
Yes.
he's just got the smile and the beautiful hair?
Yeah.
I think Chris Knobloch has a little bit of that, but definitely Lloyd Braun.
Lots of Braun, for sure. You're going to be seeing this guy. He's going to be on the road for us. The games in Edmonton, 3 and 4 in the Stanley Cup Finals. So we're going to be talking to Jamie at that time. Jamie, hope you have a great weekend and enjoy Game 1 on Saturday night.